Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate the time to be here today. I am here today representing the millions of American women business owners seeking your urgent assistance. In 2000, Congress recognized that the gross underrepresentation of women-owned businesses in federal contracting had to end and established a set-aside program to reach women-owned businesses in underrepresented industries. Through a bipartisan effort, Congress passed the Equity in Contracting for Women Act. This act required the Small Business Administration to conduct a study to identify industries in which women-owned small businesses were underrepresented and establish procedures to verify eligibility and implement the program. Nearly 7 years later, the SBA has still not implemented this important law. The U.S. Women's Chamber of Commerce filed a claim against the SBA for failure to implement this law. The court agreed with the Women's Chamber and said that the SBA had sabotaged the implementation of the program. The court demanded a timeline for implementation, which the SBA provided and then failed to meet. Let me now address why this law is so urgently needed. We read endlessly about the huge growth in women-owned businesses from marketers seeking to sell to women. One of my favorite hyped-up headlines states that over the last decade, women-owned businesses grew 42.3%. But the real story is that while the number of women-owned businesses grew by 42.3%, their annual revenues grew by only 4.4%. One of the reasons women-owned businesses are not seeing stronger growth is the devastating failure of the federal government to provide fair, competitive opportunities for women-owned firms. Without access to government contracting opportunities, women-owned businesses are struggling to get the traction they need to grow their businesses and increase their capacity. Even though women own nearly 1/3 of all businesses in America, we received only 3.4% of the total 2006 federal contracting dollars, resulting in losses of billions of dollars annually. After nearly 7 years, the SBA is still not ready to implement the Women's Contracting Program and has even signaled that they plan to only implement a very, very narrow version of this law. If the SBA takes this narrow action, the intent of Congress will not be fulfilled and women-owned businesses will not receive increased access to contracts. The SBA has taken 3 steps. Step 1, in 2002, the SBA prepared a draft study containing a preliminary set of estimates. On Step 2, the SBA asked the National Academy of Sciences to conduct an independent review of relevant data and estimation methods prior to finalizing the study. NAS recommended that a new study be completed employing 4 data sets measuring options of contract dollars and actions, as well as the whole universe of women-owned small businesses versus only those listed in CCR. The NAS recommendation entitled Clear Cases of Underrepresentation states, and I quote, because almost any data source and measure of disparity will be subject to errors, and because stakeholder views of appropriate disparity measures may differ according to their views on the usefulness and appropriateness of preferential contracting programs, it is unlikely that a single disparity measure will go unchallenged. We recommend that the SBA identify industry groups for which more than one disparity measure finds underrepresentation using a disparity ratio of 0.80 or less. The NAS also makes clear why it's important to look at a diverse picture of underrepresentation rather than narrowly at only one view. Their report states, differences in purchasing methods cause differences between different agencies, making it important to look at both contract actions and dollar amounts. Shares in terms of dollars and actions are similar for many cabinet departments, but there are exceptions. Notably, the Department of Energy in fiscal year 2003 exhibited a relatively high share of contract actions going to women-owned small businesses, 15%, but the share of its contract dollars awarded to women-owned small businesses was only 0.5%. The point that NAS makes is that the SBA should not narrow the selection of industry severely, as purchasing methods and contract sizes across different agencies vary. Step 3. Using the RAND study outcomes, the SBA should now select industries that appear on more than one of the disparity measurement tables. Using this standard to determine underrepresentation, women-owned businesses are underrepresented in over 86% of the industries. In summary, the NAS told the SBA how to prepare the relevant data and estimation methods. The RAND study provided the relevant data. The next step is clear. The SBA should immediately implement this program for all industries that appear on more than one of the 4 data sets. I call upon you today to do everything within your power to compel the SBA to implement the law as you had intended it to be done so. Thank you.